Welcome to our Galaxy Wizard Journal. Tonight we are watercoloring our front and our back of our paper, watercolor paper, and then we are going to be stitching it with the mixed media paper. Each of you should have a little stack of that. And we're going to put that, sandwich that between our two watercolor sheets. Okay, so let's get started. The very first thing is we want to paint our front and our back. You have to identify the different texture. You can, if you see one side is a little more rough than the other, this is smoother and this is rougher. We have two of them, but we are going to be making this like a book. So I want you to put them, they're going to be side by side, rough side up painting, okay? So go ahead and make sure they're both rough side up. And know that this is going to hinge, right here. So if you are making something that's going to continue all the way across, you would want to make sure that you've got that open and you're just painting it like a die-tip, is that it? Two pieces of work that are really one together. So let's get started, and then we'll set this aside once we've done it, and we will dry, while it's drying, we will be stitching. Okay, my black fell off. I hope you guys can find, did your black paint all fall off? Okay, hopefully you can find those little pieces. And I'm gonna scoot out so you can see my whole thing. We're gonna start by wetting our front cover, and we're going to wet it around the wizard, but not anywhere near it. Okay, we're just going to go around him. If you haven't traced your wizard, just leave space for him. We're going to create this galaxy around his head and body. Okay, these are tiny brushes, so it's going to take us a while to get this soaked. And you'll notice it's going to start to curl because we don't have it taped down. But we don't want any taped edges on our journal. We want our color to just go all the way to the edges. Okay, I'm going to start on the front cover only. We'll work on the back one after we get this. I'm wetting my brush and scooping up some of the, trying to get some of the black things that were in the bottom of the bag. If you don't have any black to work with, you certainly can use the other colors. We're just dropping it in. Go off the edge of it. What's going to happen is we'll probably have to go over this a couple times to get the black really strong.
Hey, Debbie.
Uh-huh.
I don't know about anybody else's, but when I add water to, the black on the card you gave us, it's not wanting to dissolve very easy at all.
Really? Just pat it?
Yeah, I have been.
Really?
So, and I didn't know if anybody else was having that problem, so.
Mine's go okay.
Yeah, it's a little chalky for some reason.
Yeah, it's student grade. It's a different, it's not the big, like the palettes that we have at the library. All I can say is just keep working with it. Make a big puddle. Can you see how big my circle is? Ruth, can you see how big that is?
Yes.
Just keep, if it's in the wet, it'll start to dissolve. So make a big puddle in there and see if that's gonna make a difference. In the meantime, our paper is gonna get dry again. I was concerned about doing this. Oh, it's not adhering right there. It's like a wax resist. It's interesting. Never had that with the watercolor paper. Ruth, you could probably jump over to the blues and purples and see if those are any better.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this black is not very good. It's not going into my paper either. Anybody else have a problem with that too? Okay. Okay. Like I said, you're gonna have to go over it a couple times with water to keep it fluid. And now we're gonna add some more colors to it. And you can pick any of the colors. I'm going with a blue right now. And I'm just gonna streak that like lightning almost, right through the sky. Yeah, I have a little pile of little coals there that I'm hoping will slowly dissolve and I'll get more black. Then I'm going to add the other colors, the purple. Oops, I didn't get purple. It looks like it's two different blues. We'll have to make our own purple. Okay, I do want a purple, so I'm just going to come down on this card and add this color to it. It's the darker of the two reds. And just with your blue brush, grab some purple. Every time you do a different layer, make sure you go down around your wizard too and make that darker too. Okay. Kind of just going all over. Once you've covered your front, you can start the back. And see how I have this purple going through? I may want to continue that all the way across when I'm done. So for right now, I'm going to scoot it up there. And it's the same thing all over again. Oops, I forgot to wet it. If any of you have Sumi ink at home or black watercolor of your own, you might want to pull that out. The Sumi ink is very dark. Oops, one of my nuggets got on here. Oh, well. Oh, maybe that's the key. I'm pushing this nugget around, this black nugget. Try that.
What color are you using now?
It's still black.
Okay, it almost looks brown.
Ew. Yeah, so, you know, black is made up of all those colors. And there may be more brown in this. It does look brown, you're right. It's totally black. The color on this camera is not the best. I think it was my last class. I had to keep refreshing the camera. It kept switching to a kind of different colors, and to get it back to the red. Oh, I know what it was. It was the oil painting class. And it just wasn't true life colors. So it's hard when you're trying to teach a color and it doesn't show the right color for you guys to follow along. There's like 2 or 3 different colors of black in watercolor. There's a lamp black, and then Mars black, and then I think there might be one other. Both have different properties that shine through. You know, one's more on the blue scale and one's more on the red scale. Did you know that? Yeah. So even though it looks black here in front of me, it tells me that with the light reflecting, this might be one of the red tones of black. Okay, so once I've covered that pretty good with the black, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to continue this purple across, so it's about right here. Right down the middle there. I'm just dropping some water around it. I want it to spread out a little bit. And I'm going to just pick up blues. All 3 of these blues look very similar to me, even though they all had different names. So if we take this all the way across, and it'll look like, what do you call it? Like a Milky Way, but Aurora Borealis kind of thing. I was able to get this back a lot darker than the front, so I may go back on the front and add a little more black to make it balanced. By picking up those little black nuggets and just kind of scraping with them, it really makes it dark. I don't know what it would look like to lift some of that. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm lifting right above the purple with a paper towel. Just gives a little more variety. I'm dabbing on the blues too, because I think that lightens it a little. Okay, so I'm going to switch and I'm going to work on this one a little bit more to make it as dark. The other thing I'm doing is I'm taking clear water and I'm just going right around the wizard to soften some of those lines I made. Oh, I touched my wizard. I didn't know that. Yeah, probably on my hand. Okay. How you guys doing? I'm going to try to make some blooms. I really like this purple bloom. I don't know if you guys can see that. See that bloom right in there? The way you get that is by adding water and letting it just run into another watered space, and it creates that. It's always by accident. Well, people know how to manipulate it and create it. I try sometimes, but usually by mistake. Okay, so then I went a little darker on the blue in parts. I'm just going to let that bloom up too. Add a little bit of water. Okay. How you guys doing? Okay, let me look. Is anybody, thumbs up if you're done? 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Okay, 5. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a little video of the binding. Okay, this is called Japanese stab binding. And don't worry, we'll walk it through really easily. It's very easy to do. It's really a fun thing. Oh, hold on, I've got to switch it to the right. Okay. Did this the other day and it was like, there we go. And I think it has music. We're just going to watch it. So she's already done her holes, and so we're going to do our holes too. I want you to watch how she stitches it. And she starts in the middle of the book, and then she goes to the center, brings it either up or down in the center hole, doesn't matter. And we'll do the same, but we're going to be hiding our knot inside the book. And to do that, you start inside the book to make it. So here we go.
Run out. To estimate how much thread to use, I made the length about 5 times the height of my book. First, take a portion of the pages and start from the bottom on the second hole. Leave about 4 to 5 inches on the end and tuck it between so it's going toward the other end of the book. This is where the final knot will be tied. Then wrap around to the bottom of the book and back through like this. Then to the next hole, wrap around and back through.
The same stitch every time. Wrap it down.
When you reach the last hole, wrap around and back through again. Then wrap around on the end and back through. Now weave through the rest of the holes to the other end, wrap around the same way and back to the second hole you started from. When you reach the second hole, return the needle in between where the end of the thread is.
This is where the curved needle comes in.
And tie the two ends together in a knot. You can pull on them a little to make sure the binding isn't too loose.
We don't want any of the ties loose, but especially the very end. See how she knocks it down to the crease there?
Then cut the ends off. I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and feel free to like or leave your comments below.
Okay, so what did you think?
To learn how to make your own wax
Hold on,
thread,
I gotta
check out
stop
the video
it.
to the left. For an overview on bookbinding needles, check out the
Okay. Okay, so what did you guys think? Very doable, right? Okay, so here we go. We're going to set both of these aside. To dry. I'm going to take out my paper. I think you'll be able to see what I'm doing better without that white background anyway. Okay, you each have a card. And I want you to fold your card in half. And then fold it into that center line on both sides. So it's in fourths. Oh, and if you need to wash your hands, that's probably a good thing to do before we start with the papers. Okay. So I'm going to mark this. Let me see if you can, if I move it in farther. I'm going to mark it on all the creases, and I'm going to go 3 lines in. So 1, 2, 3 rows in. I'm going to put a big mark right there on the fold. So where the fold and the line intersects. And I'll do that on all the creases. I'm also going to do it on the very edge. Okay. This is a template for our punching our paper. Hopefully you all got the message to get, if you had a push pin in your kit. If not, some of you got your kit before I added the push pin. And then I thought, oh, how are we going to poke holes? We've got to have something to poke the holes. So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to lay this down and we're gonna punch through on all of our papers. Now, it might be easier to do them one at a time. And what we have to do is we have to kind of guess, make it even as we can on these sides, okay? And then go ahead and punch it. So I'm just going to punch the center. Oh, here's where you can also clip this to keep your book, your pattern in place. So I'm just going through one thickness of paper and really kind of move that needle or thumbtack around. I'm going to make as big a hole as possible. If we were at the library and I would do the awl. You guys we've used the awl before in our bookbinding, and that just goes in with a really quite a large hole. So make sure that using your tack, you're going in and you're making as big a hole as you can. Okay, so I'm going to add another paper behind that, lining it up and just reclipping it. And mine's not very even. Sorry about that. You can blame that on the person who cut it, which is me, the paper cutter. So anyway, just continue. This time I'm going through two pieces and it seems to be fine. Okay. Okay. So once you've punched through all of that, we'll punch on the these guys, the front cover and the back cover in a minute. We've got to paint our wizard because mine's still very wet. So we want to paint our wizard. So I'm switching to the smallest brush, which isn't all that great of a brush, but it will allow us to pick up a small amount of paint, and that was the goal. So, very first thing I want to do on the wizard is paint his hands and his face. He's got, so to make a peach color, use a little bit of red and some yellow. You get a flesh tone. You can also add some white to it. Okay. Oh, he's got an ear too that you need to paint. Don't paint his eyebrows. His eyebrows will be white. And don't paint his mustache or beard. I say that and I just did it. Okay. I'll have to go over it with white paint. While his cheeks are wet, you're going to add a little bit of lighter pink to just a tad of pink to his cheeks. Because he's a happy wizard. And you can actually do the mouth at this point too. That's right between his mustache. Okay, back to the peach for his hands. Again, that's a little bit of yellow, red, and white mixed together. Okay. Let's see, do you guys want to look at the picture again? See what it's right here. Let me share. I guess you can't see it very well. I'm going to do his wizard hat and his robe and the crystal in my darkest blue. And then I'm going to do lighter blue for his gown underneath with all the stars. Okay. I'll start with his hat. If you don't want to go around the stars, that's just fine. You can add it with you can add the stars later with the white paint or a gel pen or Dr. Martin's ink, anything you have that can draw white. You may want to go over it with acrylic so it pops. So if you mess up and go in a star and it just doesn't look good, you guys can just go over it. Just go without it. It's like I went into his hat with the galaxy, with black. Okay. And if your lines, if it's hard to get into the shapes, don't worry about it. When you go over it with black felt pen after the class is over, after it's all dried, ballpoint pen, anything you want that outlines everything, you can clean up your little painting mistakes that way. So again, I'm going to go with this robe really dark. So both sleeves get it, and then we're going to do darker in the lining of the sleeves. Okay, so be careful when you get down to the cane or his staff, not to take the blue through there, but leave a space. You can paint right off the edge. Okay. Just going to add a little water to that same paintbrush without rinsing it. And I'm going to take it into the gown. I have a big fingerprint right there in the middle. Oh, now I have a worse fingerprint right in the middle. I'm going to try to lift this. It's a good lesson on lifting. You just take a clean water and try to scrub that out. I've got purple over here too. Okay, so that seems to have come out nice. Now I just need to add some color back in. Okay. Moving on, I'm going to make a red book. Just leave the pages white, but do a red binding on the book. And then the last thing, oh, did you guys see what happened on mine? His robe started to bleed in over here, and you just have to dab it. I'll probably put a star there. Okay. I think the brown is for the staff. Okay. The rest of it's white. His beard, we don't paint, nothing else. Okay. So what you're going to do when you're ready, and this feels pretty dry over on this side, you're going to center this, and you can eyeball it, or you can measure it if you want, but you want the same distance. Sorry, let's get you on the screen again. You want the same distance here and up here, and it can just be eyeballed. Now remember, we're bookmarking, we're flipping this so it goes underneath. And we want all the edges lined up. We want a very square cover. Okay, and when you get that to that point, now see my clip doesn't fit over here, but it will fit over on this edge, okay? Then I'm going to take my pen again. Go like that in all the holes. Okay. When you slip these papers in, they're not going to fit right up at the top of the paper. Our holes need to match up. So right now, all of our holes are here. I'm just going to take, and I can see how close it is lined up. And the way to really test it is, where's my pin? Ah, there it is. I can go through that and see, I can see on the back that it goes through all of them. I'm going to hook on the back cover. And it should all line up. Make any adjustments you want. Oops. Oh, my pin came out. Okay. This time I'm just going to pin it on the side, clip it on the side, keep that all together. Okay. How are you guys doing? Joanne, you need to unmute yourself if you want to say something. Okay, so our wax thread needs to go through this tiny little eye hole. And the way we do it is we squeeze an end of it through our fingers, like dental floss almost, like you're just squeezing it And the wax property makes it flatten out, and you should be able to slide it right through where you need it. Now we have plenty of string, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay, so it doesn't matter that you get the exact middle of the book to start. Okay, it, you know, as far as pages go, it can be anywhere. You might have 6 pages, you might have 4 pages, I just don't know. I think most of you have 6. What I'm going to do is I'm just sliding it up, and I'm going to stick it through the middle there. And, oops. Okay, so I got it right here, and I'm coming up at the top. Just pull it, and remember to leave about, a 6-inch. Leave the tail as long as the book. Then you'll definitely have enough string to do it. Okay, so the very first stitch that we do is we come underneath, we wrap it around and come back up through the same hole. So I'm just going to turn it over, and it should go right up, and it does, which is good. That means I've lined up. If they're little squampish, you just have to kind of move your tack, kind of push in with your tack until you find that. Okay? Then we go over to the next hole, and we just go down. And see, I can go like this and see that it's coming through. Wiggle it and pull it until it's tight, and you're going to wrap it around and goes down in that same hole. This is where you want to make sure your strings are lined up. You want to make sure this string ends up perpendicular to this edge. You want all your strings to be straight. Okay? And that's what it looks like on the front. I'm going to continue going into the next hole. Okay, and this one doesn't want to go in as easily as the other ones. Where's my push pin? Here we go. There we go. And down. Anybody have a question? Okay, and then we wrap this one around this way and come up, and we go down again, then we wrap it around the end, remember? Open, yeah, I need to straighten this so it's perpendicular, and I want that one perpendicular too. So I'm going to come back underneath. It gets tougher to pull through with all that string. Okay, from here, it's very simple. You just are filling in the blank spots. So obviously I have to go down here. having a tough time. There we go, finally. Whew. That was rough. Okay. And tighten it and line it up as you go. Keep it nice and neat. Then we'll go opposite side and go down to the other end and come back. And here, I'm not wrapping because I've already wrapped. I'm just going to go straight across. Hold on. Maybe I do wrap. Oh no, I get that on the way back. Sorry. I didn't want to freak you out there. So we just go around and come back up top. Oh no. My needle just broke. Boy, let me see. Do you have an extra one? Hopefully your needle won't be strong enough, guys. That's weird. The problem with this one is I'm gonna pause the recording. Okay. I said, I guess the key is to gently get that through. And line it up, square it off, I should say. Okay. Go in here. I'm peeking because it is off a little. There we go. Okay. And I'm ready to go around the end here. Oh, that's really tough. I must be going right through the middle of the string. There we go. Okay, so from here, I just go back to this hole. Have any of you attended the other binding classes that we've had, book binding classes? Good, Ruth, yay. We're gonna do one, I think one of the exploring art mediums in July. We're gonna do a little booklet for our gouache paint. Oh, it's the gouache painting. Anyway, look on the descriptions. We're gonna do another one just as an art journal book to put, it's either in the exploring art medium class or the gouache class. My mind's all befuddled right now with all of them. Okay, last one. Remember, you need to unclip it. You only need to go halfway through, so you've got to find your tail. I don't want to come out the top of this one. I want to come on the inside. Do you see that, how I'm getting that needle right there? Yours is going to be curved, so it should be easier to pull through. Okay, I am back to the beginning. Okay, this is your last chance to pull up any slack that you see. And if you pull up any slack, you're gonna have to go all the way across and fix things as you go. Then I just tie it in a knot. And I'm gonna go all the way down to where the holes are. And then we just snip it. There's my scissors. Okay. If yours is curving, like mine's curving, you can just set it under a book or two after it's completely dried, and it'll flatten down. The other thing you can do is you can put it, put like a paper towel or a brown paper bag over the top of it and take a warm iron to the watercolor paper, and that can relax it also, okay? What you could do also is, I don't know, I think just pressing it would be the best. That's probably my advice. Okay, so the one thing we haven't done is any white, like little spritz of stars and dots and things. So if you want to, you can wet your white. With the blue brush, and you can take your needle or your push pin. I don't know where my push pin went. There it is. Okay, so I can just flick it. I got one moon there already. That was an accident. Or you could just take your thumb. There we go. Forget the thumbtack. I don't know if you can see that. Is it too out of focus? And you'll want to do the same on the back. The other thing you can do is like little stars. And we're not going to really do like a star, but just like an X kind of thing. And you could even make it like a shooting star. You guys can't even see that, can you? Doesn't show up on the camera. Let me see if I can do one right here. Okay. The other thing we want to do is we want to do some rays out of this jewel thing that he's got. And color his stars in on his hat. And color his beard. Or you can just leave it. It doesn't necessarily need to be painted. And the book pages. And then just do more dots. Or shooting stars, or I cannot do the back right now. I've got this big blob of white. I don't know if you guys can see that. My flick made a moon. I guess I could try picking some of it up. I can't turn mine over right now, but you're more than welcome to work on spritzing the back of yours. You want to make them different sizes. You can just go through and do dots along with the spritzing. Oh, I forgot. He's got white stars on his dress, on his robe, on his, I don't know what you call it, smock. I'm just going to put a few dots in here. Actually, you guys ever tried to use the back of your paintbrush to do a dot? Okay. When he is all dry, You can take a sharp pen or just a gel pen, a black pen, any kind of pen you have, and you can outline him. So I'm going to show you what he looks like outlined so you can get an idea. Oops, missed it there. And then you could go around the stars, but they're wet right now. By doing the outlining after we've painted, we can correct any mistakes, but we can also, it doesn't matter if it's permanent or not. The pen is permanent or not because your paint is dry. Okay, book. I had to put a book in this. We are actually, you know, after all, a library. Okay, oh, I know what. The other thing I did is I added lines to his beard, just into his hair. And that's it. That's